but I think it's going well. What about you?
I think it is. The fact that we have viewership, and it's been fun. For me, it's been fun because, like Elly says, my mind is always out there. It keeps my mind consistently thinking, going, and busy.
Yeah.
That it does not have the time to think about anything that might be a negative. Hi, I'm Ellen.
Hi, I'm Elly, and this is a podcast with two Asian American women.
Living, learning, and sharing about everyday life cross-generationally.
Today, we're actually gonna be just me and Ellen. This is kind of a little check-in because it's been about 3 months, believe it or not, since we started this podcast, this show. So really just wanted to check in with you, but check in with Ellen and see how things are going, how you think the podcast is progressing or how we think it's progressing, and then just a little bit about our friendship because it's evolved in the past 3 months as well. So we wanted to just share that with you and make it just a fun conversation, really. So I'd like to, with that, I'll kick it off. What's up? Like, how do you feel like things are going so far?
It's going well. Last episode, I just want to put it out there. Last episode, we talked about K-pop. And prior to introducing Leah, who we interviewed, Elly asked me, like, what is BTS? Is it back to school? No. and then I wanted to let Leah kind of say what BTS stood for. And as I watched the episode prior to editing, I was like, oh my gosh, we never mentioned what BTS stood for. But BTS stands for, and if I butcher it, I'm sorry to BTS and all the Korean folks out there, but it's Bangtansenyodan. Which is, I believe, the description, or it refers to bulletproof Boy Scouts. And the reason for that is that the great thing about BTS is that their mind shift for their group is about negative, or anything negative comes to us like really full blast like bullets, and so to them they're like, we're bulletproof. So any negativism that comes our way, we can deal with it. We can we have the strength to endure it. And it also talks about their journey, because sometimes BTS also is back to scene, and I'm a new army, so but it's also talking about their journey from the time they started to where they are now. So just prefacing that, what BTS stood for, because we never mentioned that in our episode last time. And then for Elly's question of what I've been up to is I went to the Stray Kids concert.
That's awesome.
Just last weekend, and it was so fantastic. This is kind of, I had more chains, and this was actually my belt, but I wore this sort of like to commemorate being a stay. I'm a stay, which is the Stray Kids fandom.
Okay.
And I would like to say hello to Dominate Orlando, all of my friends that I've met over there, and it was such a fantastic concert. In the US, and I believe, and I'm following everything, all the postings and everything that is in social media out there, TikTok and Instagram, and even with YouTube, with Dominate Orlando and the groups, and even the Dominate International, is that they were saying that here in the United States, Orlando is the largest venue. So there are certain, like New York, and I believe Atlanta, like all of them have 2 nights back to back.
Okay.
Because the largest, which I think in New York is at 41,000 seating capacity. Well, Orlando at World Camp was 68,000 people.
Wow.
And it was sold out.
That's insane.
And I want to give Dominate Orlando, the crew members, such a shout out because it was hot being here in Florida. We didn't know whether or not we were going to have, and it's hot everywhere, you know. I mean, they're having to close down early over in DC because it was so hot and people were passing out. But,
oh my gosh,
you know, us Floridians are used to the heat. But yeah, it was such a wonderful concert. I was on the floor. I want to give also another shout out to Mystic Dreams. She was Power Tia. She sat in the front of me, and then my seatmate David and his daughter. And these are just some folks that, you know, I went there to the concert by myself in the front, sit on the floor. But my true K-pop, K-drama gals, Angel and Ashley, and also the two other new friends that I met that they brought along, Kat and Stephanie. We all went to the Stray Kids concert together, but they sat way up in nosebleed section, and I wasn't going to do that. I went and bought floor tickets. Next time, I'm going to buy pit tickets so that I can actually touch them. I'm crazy, but it was fabulous. And the Dominate Orlando crew members, it was so organized. There were no holdups, even though the line was Elly from the stadium all the way around the block, all the way around. Like, it was so long, like most of the you know, Stray Kids concerts are. But in the Florida heat, even the medics were on, because there were some people that were fainting that had to be, that was having heat stroke. But even the medics were on point, like just so organized for having the one. I mean, it was the largest K-pop concert ever in Florida.
Wow.
You know, and it was the first and biggest.
Yeah.
And just very organized. I met so many friends. I had so much fun.
That's great.
And can't wait until the next time.
Yeah.
So.
I know it's something that you were really looking forward to, and I was actually looking forward to you going because from my perspective, I've never been to or heard of it. So if you watched the last episode, we talked to Leah about different terms and what is Asian pop, K-pop, and I had no idea. This is something Ellen's introduced me to, which is just intriguing to learn. And so she might have brought up some words like fandom. If you haven't heard of that before, it's
the names of the fan, like the groups of fans.
Okay.
And for each group, like BTS is ARMY, for Stray Kids it's Stay, and there's a lot of different out there. They're my two number one follow names, so I don't know. Again, I'm new in the K-pop world. I'm more in my dramas. But I am enjoying so much being a Stay. And then the ARMY, like every BTS, they're all out now. They're all out. Every single. Oh no, actually, Sugar. No, yeah, they're all out. They're all out by the time this is aired. Every single BTS member will be out of the military.
Okay,
the real military,
and
not the ARMY.
That's what was really confusing for me because they were talking about military and ARMY, but actually ARMY is the actual fandom. And then military, they're actually in the military because
like
they have to
serve the country.
Of Korea?
Of Korea.
Yeah. So each of them have military service time frames.
Yes.
From what I understand.
2 years.
Yeah.
In Korea, you have to serve 2 years.
Okay. So this is all
she was so confused.
Yeah, but I'm learning, and I hope you're learning or appreciating because you already understand it. I'm curious how many people knew what BTS was. So if anybody can put it in the comments instead of back to school, if anybody had the same idea that thought it was back to school. But Ellen, I think it's something, from what you were saying, I like that they have different meaningful things because because like you mentioned, the bulletproof thing from negativity, being a life coach, I really appreciate that, and I nerd out for that sort of thing because it's it's so common for us to, I mean, it's part of life, right? We face negativity, we face ups and downs and beautiful highs and lows. So it's kind of a fun thing for them to focus on that negativity and turning that negativity into maybe potentially positivity and refueling that, I guess.
And you know, not so, yes, fun, but it's a very serious and their drive to really kind of go on and persevere. And I want to make a point, because Bangchan of Stray Kids, he was like, oh, I see a lot of young folks out there, you know, which they think that it's just the younger generation demographic, Gen Z and younger. But yes, to the BTS and to, you know, Stray Kids and to a lot of Asian K-pop groups out there that think that, oh, are we being heard? Is it all just the younger generation? No, it's not. Because as I watch, you know, when I first started watching them, and I actually, although BTS, you know, I heard them first and got into K-pop with BTS because of my cousin Paul. I'm giving you another shout out, Paul. You know, Stray Kids, when I was one of the ones where I got to know more, because I watched their making video, and so kind of got to know how they strove in the beginning and how hard. And I'm not saying that none of the groups, and that's one thing that I want to say about the K-pop groups as I kind of read about it, because as a Gen X and mother, you know, I was like, what made this when I first started K-pop? Like, what is making these folks so popular? And as a mother, you know, it wasn't necessarily the music, but kind of the message, right?
Yeah.
Because we always go, you know, is this safe for our children? Is this whatever? But
Right.
the message that they give, and all of these groups and even singers, you know, at least in the K-pop world, they go through intense training. I mean, it's not just like, you know, here in the US, you go on YouTube and you play something and then all of a sudden, poof, you're a hit, you know? No, these folks, these young kids, you know, start out so young. They learn to sing, dance, how to be that idol, you know, and it's not until years, like Bangchan, I think it's 5-6 years, you know, to even debut, you know. So that's just the message and the perseverance. So yes, there are us older generation that do watch you, that applaud you for where you go and what you've done and the message that you give out to the younger generation. And I like a lot. I understand that you all have to, you know, get a wider audience internationally, but the fact that you still have the Korean language as part of your songs, to me means so much more. English is good, but interspersing the English with the Korean, I think just sounds so much better.
That's awesome. That's
know?
great.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had fun.
I had a fantastic time.
Yes.
So I can keep talking. But what about you, Elly? What about you? What's new with you? What have you been doing?
Yeah, so I haven't gone to is it Stray Kids? Stray Kids, right? Stray Kids concert or any Asian pop concert, but I love hearing about that, and maybe one of these days we'll have to do that. We'll see. But I haven't, not too much. We actually just got back from another summer trip. We went to Charleston and we went to North Carolina.
Okay.
So we have friends in Charleston, which we think Florida, if you're from Florida or around here, we think Florida is hot. But Charleston, it's north, but it's the low country. So it's even hotter. Yeah, it's even hotter. So it was 100 degrees when we went up there.
Wow.
And it's typically probably 90 here. It was great though. I mean, Charleston, we only stayed a day in, and then North Carolina, we went to Maggie Valley with a couple of our friends who have a cabin.
Valley, okay.
Yeah, who have a cabin out there, and it's just beautiful. It's cool. We got a little weather reprieve from the heat here in Florida, and just really nice to spend quality time with friends, kind of go away and hang out and not have too much of an agenda. So I used to, when we were talking about summer travel before, but when I used to go to any sort of travel, I'm kind of organized, as you know, and you might know too. Exactly. We're all crazy, right? In different ways. That's what makes us beautiful. But I used to plan down to the T of what we wanted to do. And in like 3 days, there would be no space for even taking a nap or breathing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I've learned from that, because then I was exhausted, and I'm thinking to myself, well, if it's exhausting to go on vacation, because I wanted to fit everything in, but then it's exhausting. So now when we go up, I try to make space. And
Space, what, in your head or in the planning?
in the planning.
Okay.
Yeah, in the head and both, right? So with the planning, if I make space to not make as much plans, basically, right? Then it gives me space in my brain to relax. If that makes any if that makes any sense at all. But anyway. So this time, so I don't usually have an agenda as much, but I'll put like here and there, I'll sprinkle some things in, and then make space to breathe. Because I think in our world, we're always so go, go, go. And I've always been that one, actually very similar to you, which is always go, go, go. But that can be exhausting sometimes, at least for me, being more of an introvert. And I think you're more of an extrovert, I think.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
Just a guess. Yeah, so we went there, and the weather was beautiful, and we got to try out some great restaurants, and it's just plush there right now with the greenery, so super, super green. And our friends of over about 10 years, so that's who we went with on our cruise. So we hung out with them, and they're just special people, and got to meet their friends, which are special people too, which was really neat. So that's kind of what we've been up to, and I think we'll have some family coming in town tomorrow. My grandma's coming in town, and then I know you wanted to meet her. I think you'll miss her.
I'll miss her, yeah.
But maybe during that time, we might be able to squeeze a cooking lesson in, and maybe put it.
We're gonna try and figure that out, y'all.
Yes, yeah. So
try to figure that out.
Yeah, so we'll squeeze something in there, and then my brother and his family are coming in town next week, so we'll have some family time and summertime. And of course work in there too. Working with clients, I absolutely love, so it's not really considered work to me. So between that's kind of what we've been up to.
Okay.
Yeah. With I'll leave it to you. I know we were talking about the podcast stuff.
Yes. So we were talking about the podcast prior to us airing, and y'all know that podcast is one of my bucket list to do things. And so I kind of wanted to ask you, Elly, like, what do you think about the podcast so far, since I brought you in? What do you think about it? We've done, by the time this one goes out, this would be our 7th episode, I think. So 3 months into it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Great question. It's been fun. It hasn't, kind of like life coaching for me, it hasn't felt like work. It's just been us being able to have authentic conversations and bringing you in, and whether they're different, because I think that we both have such different personalities. So I love seeing the dynamic and the balance, right? I think it's like yin and yang. It's helpful to have yin and yang to make a balanced picture, So I love seeing our relationship evolve, and I've also liked seeing the topics that we've talked about and you've brought on, because Ellen has a lot of ideas. I don't know if it's something that you know, but I've realized that Ellen has a lot of great ideas, and she's very creative. She's just a always thinking. And so you've introduced me to K-pop and a few other things. We've also talked about potentially having someone in the gaming industry. And I think those were such foreign topics because I'm such a nerd per se. And I like reading self-help books and psychology. I'm all really into psychology. So it's something that's different and I'm learning about too. So I think it's going really well. I think there's always tweaks that we're making and we're talking like, hey, what can we do better to make it even better? And hearing from you too, because so we love to hear feedback from you to how it's going. But I think it's going well. What about you?
I think it is. The fact that we have viewership, and it's been fun for me. It's been fun because, like Elly says, my mind is always out there, and it during some of like with life, there's a lot of ups and downs, and it keeps my mind consistently thinking, going, and busy. Yeah. That it does not have the time to think about anything that might be a negative. Because all the time, even when I'm driving, aside from trying not to get a ticket on that darn Lottie, there's a city on the way here every time. I've already gotten one ticket, and the last thing my husband says all the time, I'm like, okay, I'm leaving, bye. He's like, don't get a ticket.
I even said that.
Yeah, it's just, but I'm consistently thinking of, what could be a podcast topic, or what can we talk about? Or so to me, I like that. It keeps my mind going, and hopefully, that's Alzheimer's doesn't kick in. Because it runs in my mom's family. My grandmother had Alzheimer's, so I just want to make sure that. Yeah, I love it. I love the whole podcast thing. So, but because I brought you in, I wanted to make sure that you're still in the go mode, and not, I'm always fearful that one day she's like, okay, Ellen, I've had it.
well, the fun thing is our personalities are so different, and we might not see eye to eye on certain things, but we're open to hearing it. And I love that, like, because we're open to the perspectives, and that's kind of what our show, our podcast is about, is hearing different perspectives and kind of bouncing that off of us to see if it makes sense. And so I might bring up an idea that maybe you hadn't thought of, and vice versa. You might bring up an idea that I haven't thought of. So I love this synergy between us and bringing our community in too. So that's one of the things I feel like potentially to continue is the building our community to make a bigger impact in the world, bring in that perspective cross-generationally too, and with the stories, with the experiences, and with the different cultures.
Yeah, and for me, it's still missing. I told you all the touch, the reaching out internationally, and then the connection, which is the engagement. And I read, when I tell you I read, I'm consistently going and seeing, did anybody leave a comment, so I'm still very hungry for the engagement piece, because I get my energy from meeting people and from really like just interacting with them. So that's still missing, I think, for me. Not that there hasn't been comments, there has been, and I'm very thankful. Jake, thank you. That's always like on top of watching each episode and commenting. But I'd like to be able to meet and engage with somebody internationally outside of just my local area, outside of Florida. And so I'm still really hungry for that. And to me, that's still missing.
That's great.
That we've kind of talked about before. So
yeah, that's one of the things I feel like by the way, thank you so much for liking, for subscribing, for engaging. I think that comes with time too.
Yeah, it does. But I'm a realtor, so I'm about numbers and like, I have to have a goal.
Yeah.
I have to have a goal, and then I'm just go drive towards that goal.
Yeah.
While Elly's more like, I'm okay with how things are. If
Yeah.
it unfolds, it unfolds. If it goes, it goes. And I'm like, oh gosh.
Yeah, and I am very results driven, but I think in this setting, for some reason, it's just like, I love our conversations. I love these authentic, these real topics that we talk about. And so that's what my kind of goal is, per se, to have kind of authentic conversations where they're not like put on, you know, it's not verbatim what we're gonna say. Right. And so that's what makes it kind of fun for me, honestly, and getting to know you too, and getting to know our viewers. And I think that you're right, we are different in how we see things. I'm kind of a little more big picture, and Ellen is more like, okay, let's get engaged with the audience, which I think is important, and that's what balance is. That's kind of part of the balance that I think we bring.
Yeah. I mean, she's just so structured, and I'm so all over. And our project team actually gave me a little like, Ellen, you need to stay, well, because I'm all over, you know. So yeah. But okay, so moving on to from the podcast, the third thing that we wanted to, or one of the things that we said we wanted to achieve with this podcast, is the growth of our friendship.
Yeah.
What do you think, aside from thinking I'm crazy? I think both of us think each other's crazy, and we're just so different.
Yeah.
But what do you think about us?
I think it's so cool that we've evolved in the past 3 months of our friendship, really, right? So it's kind of fun to bring everybody in to experience this, because I am still getting to know you, and you're vice versa. So like I said earlier, I love that I've learned a lot about you and Stray Kids and Asian pop, like what your passions are, a little bit about what your passions are, and you've kind of learned a little bit about, or you also have learned a little bit about what my passions and experiences are. So I just love the dynamic between us, and I think that it just balances us. I think I've said balance 10 times, because it does. It's all about balance, right? In life too. I think not just, I'm so kind of like a deep thinker as far as like the balance piece goes so far, and being in life coaching, I think that's one of the focuses for me, is happiness and balance. So with balance, I see it kind of everywhere, and even in our energies. So I really appreciate that. You don't think I'm crazy? Who would you think?
Well, I just feel that, so, you know, and I told you all in the last episode that I have to drive an hour and a half each time we tape. And I have my EDM going and pumping, you know. And then as soon as I turn into her street, I feel like I have to go, shh, okay, Ellen, shh, calm down. Ellen, calm down. Because Elly, to me, I feel like, honestly, that I still feel that I have to be filtered around you.
Interesting.
Okay. I feel that, you know, I can't, and I was telling my husband, I was like, I feel like I'm not quite me.
Okay.
Yet.
Okay.
And so this, you know, and I think that, and he's like, well, don't worry about her.
Yeah.
Like when you get there, he's like, when you get there, go into taping mode.
Yeah.
And think of the podcast there, and really bring your personality out.
Yeah.
You know, because, and so when he said that, I'm like, oh, I can play dress up now. I can, like, all the things that to me speaks Ellen, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, hopefully y'all will start to see that difference, me really coming out more into the podcast, because before I feel like I have to be more restrained.
Interesting. Well, thanks for sharing that, and I don't want you to feel that way. But I think that maybe that's part of, because I think our first conversation, we were talking about how we just had a real conversation. Like, it was super unfiltered, and that's why we connected, right? Which is cool. We just had super authentic, meaningful conversations, and instead of filtered conversations. Right. And that's what we appreciated. And I think that I try to be me with you, because I think that, and with you, because I think that that's how we just be our authentic self.
And it's not that I'm filtering our conversations. I think our conversations really evolve very naturally.
Yeah.
And but it's me as in my person is
Yeah.
the one that I feel like I have to still kind of be cautious, like, will Elly think I'm too much? Will
Okay. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I mean.
Got it. No, and I want to see unfiltered Ellen. And it'll continue to evolve because I think that it's only been 3 months of us getting to know each other. Speaking of knowing each other, is there anything else, since it's been only 3 months, is there anything else you'd like to know about me?
Yes, I think that all of our interactions have been very podcast based.
Yeah.
And even, I mean, really, it's just every time we talk, it's like down to the nitty gritty. What's the next podcast going to be about, and how should we structure it? But there's so on a co-host colleague level, I think I know you. I know I can work with you.
Yeah.
But then there's the next one outside of the work piece. So I don't know much about you outside of this podcast.
Yeah.
So and I don't know how that would be either. I don't know. I mean, is it meeting? I know that we're going to be doing some food episodes, and yes. Your family is mostly within the restaurant industry. So is that how I get to know Elly? Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe and the thing is that I don't know, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a good point because I think that you're big on not talking outside. Ellen's big on not talking outside of the podcast. So I mean, I try to talk to her, but she's like, don't talk about it until the podcast. But that's cool because we get to know each other on the podcast.
Yes.
So I think it'll be a little bit of both. I mean, there's some things that we do talk about outside of the podcast, but we try to keep it to a minimum because we want this to be super authentic and real. But I guess if there was one question maybe you have for me and I have for you, maybe we can answer that and go from there. I think that we talked about, like you said, food. So we want to bring in the food and continue to bring in culture and our reflections piece.
Right.
So kind of structure it a little bit just for our viewers for some insight there. But yes, I think that my family is very food oriented.
Yes.
So that can be and I like to eat too, and you like to eat. So we can continue to evolve from there. But is there a question that you have? And then maybe I have a question for you I'd like to ask.
No, and now that you've put the pressure on me to give you an answer right now, I don't have a question.
Okay.
I want to pull you out more. And maybe I've already done that, but as animated as I can get, can I maybe bring out some of that? But then maybe you're not. I don't know. No, I don't have any questions at this point. Maybe later I'll have some. What about for me?
Yeah. Well, if you're asking me if I have a more fun side, I am not that boring. I promise you. I promise.
And I'm not saying she's boring.
But it's okay. It's actually kind of a compliment because I don't know. I didn't used to be this way. I think as people we evolve, and I actually used to be, believe it or not, a little more like you. And I think both are beautiful, and we all have different personalities. That's what makes us unique, and our personalities with your personalities. That's how we learn and grow. So I see your beauty in your creativity, and I feel like I always look for the good in people, and I see so much good, and that's why I feel like we appreciate each other. Right? And you appreciate me for being crazy and boring. Boring and crazy. Are those oxymorons? Anyway, I do have a question for you though. Being a little, since I only have one question, but we'll make it quick. Being a little more on the deeper side per se, I guess, just me generally, I am curious about what drives you, because you are very creative, but actually what is behind that? Like, what drives you? What gives you that passion?
I really get my energy from other people. I mean, I just, and my favorite little bit about me, My favorite place in the whole wide world is an airport. I love airports. My husband knows I could sit there, and I'm not one of those people that, and I have to mask because I'm always scared that I'm going to catch them, because I'm one of the ones that will go to somebody and introduce myself and meet somebody. And I think that airports, you have all walks of life going in all these directions, and I love airports, and so I just feed off of people, and which is why to me engagement matters. So that's what drives me.
That's great because you saying that an airport, like we are clearly the opposite, because an airport, it's a lot. I have to kind of sit away, but I will have a meaningful conversation with like one person, and maybe the person sitting next to me. But you're the one who comes up to me. Okay, I get it.
Yes. Airports or hotel lobbies in a big city.
Wow.
Because it's not just about I'm the person that, how you have those people that go into class or go into a room and they gotta sit beside somebody that they know.
Yeah.
I'm the one that somebody different, please sit near me. Or I purposely go to somebody that I don't know, because then I will have either met somebody new or have learned something about somebody.
That's great. I like that. And I feel like I'm kind of in between, where I'll pick out the person who is by themselves sometimes and yes, if I know someone, great. But if there's someone standing alone, have you ever been that person where you stood alone or seen someone stand alone? I want to connect with that person because I don't want them to feel lonely in that sense, in that environment.
Unless you're the one, I don't want to meet you today, girl. Just kidding.
Well,
just kidding.
Well, in airports, I like to say, with my husband, I'll say, can we sit in a spot with not that many people? Even if it's one or two, if I talk to them, that's great. But thank you for sharing that. That's fun comment. And I'm learning more, and you're learning more about Ellen. And hopefully you're having fun with it. If there's anything that you'd like to see, again, please feel free to like and subscribe and comment on what you'd like to see.
Yes. And we will see you at the next episode.
See you soon.
Take
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.